Welcome back to Live Now from Fox as we continue with your top stories and headlines. Take a look at your screen. The latest from the U.S. Marshals Service on X. This as the continued deployment of hundreds of National Guard troops to the Washington, D.C. area is still in effect. 6 Republican-led states sending Guard members to the nation's capital as President Donald Trump is now asking the public's help with his federal takeover. We want to check in this morning with Fox 5 DC's Melanie Alnwick. She joins us live from Navy Yard with details on the new public reward being offered for tips that lead to an arrest. A lot to dissect, Melanie. Good morning.
Hey, good morning, Jeané. So, I think a lot of people are approaching this with a healthy dose of skepticism. Rewards are a tough thing and tips are a tough thing to ask from a lot of people, and especially in what is a high tension environment in the city right now. The task force press office says that they have more than 1,900 officers out on the streets right now already participating in these law enforcement operations nightly. Now the U.S. Marshals want to pay people for even more. So we've seen these federal agents patrolling the streets making arrests. Now in a tweet shared on X by the U.S. Marshals, they posted $500 rewards for information that leads to arrest in D.C. during the public safety surge. There's actually a QR code that people can scan. It leads them to a web page where they can leave an anonymous tip. Now, ordinarily, the U.S. Marshals Service only takes tips on wanted fugitives, registered sex offenders who aren't living at the correct address, potential threats to the federal judiciary, or missing children's cases. But now they've just added this vague new category, simply Washington, D.C. crime tips. People who live and work in the city tell us they're wary of this latest tactic.
It will cause people to become even more vigilantes, even more they're going to try to take law into their own hands, and it's going to cause real problems. There's not enough crime in the city to warrant a federal tip line being set up with $500 rewards. We're not at that state.
I think it's a good idea to a certain extent. It could help, it couldn't. It could make things worse.
$5 ain't nothing to me. I make more than that every 2 weeks. That's nothing to me.
And so you're hearing a lot of people saying the risk is not worth a reward to them in this case. And, it's interesting, too. There's not a lot of additional information in terms of the terms and conditions for these rewards. Most of the Crime Solvers programs that local police operations use, they say it's a reward for information that leads to an indictment or a conviction. So it has to be a good tip, not just a tip that simply leads to an arrest. So there are a lot of questions, Jeané, about exactly how this is all going to work. One other thing, we do know that initially this emergency crime initiative was supposed to last for 30 days. We know that Florida Congresswoman Paulina Luna has introduced a bill now in Congress that would allow the president to extend it for much longer.
And that's Fox 5 DC's Melanie Alnwick. Melanie, so glad you joined us this Wednesday on this story. A lot of social media response surrounding the story, as you can imagine, even concerns of Crime Stoppers being inundated with tips that have no validity to them, taking away from them focusing on actual crime. So we'll be keeping a close eye on this story. Thank you so much for the latest details. You have a great rest of your day.
Thank you, you too.